So enjoy. Good morning. Welcome to Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. I'm Rupert Ayton, and I'm your celebrant today. And I'd like to start with this acknowledgement. We occupy the ancestral homeland of the Lummi, Nooksack, and other Coast Salish peoples. We acknowledge our collective debt to these indigenous peoples who shared with us their veneration of this land and their labor without fair recompense. And we respectfully acknowledge our debt to the enslaved people, primarily of African descent, whose labor and suffering built and grew the economy and infrastructure of this nation that refused to recognize their humanity. Now I'd like to follow up on these words with our call to action from our recently adopted Article 2. We work to be a diverse, multicultural, beloved community where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregation. Today, I will be reflecting a little bit on tomorrow's honoring of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., as well as tomorrow's celebration of our American democracy with a presidential inauguration. Many in this congregation may feel apprehension about an incoming administration that appears to be at odds with so much of what our congregation covenants.
Good morning, I'm Reverend Paul Beckel. In addition to Rupert's thoughtful words, we have the opportunity to be stirred today by the music of Andy Marshall. Stirred, yes, maybe even a bit agitated. I encourage you today to open yourself to and engage with some discomfort, as this is a safe place to do so. In any and all of our music today, for example, some will not be up on the screen, but you should feel free to jump in wherever you're comfortable, and when you're not comfortable, risk getting it wrong. Thank you for being here today, not just for yourself, but for one another.
Them that's got shall get, them that's not shall lose. So the Bible says, and it's still his news. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own. That's got his own. Yes, the strong gets more, but the weak ones fade. Empty pockets don't ever make the grade. Mama may have, oh now, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own. Money, you got lots of friends crowding round the door. When you're gone and the spending ends, they don't come around no more. Rich relations give crust of bread and such. You can help yourself, but don't take too much. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own.
Thank you, Andy. Our Unitarian Universalist tradition draws upon the words and deeds of prophetic women and men, which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. We light our chalice today to reaffirm our commitment to this work. And let's say together our covenant. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant. And please stand and, as you're able, and sing together our gathering song. The words are going to be up here. The number printed in your order of service, it's not 1023, it's 1024, or up here. So just follow Andy's lead. Know that the successive verses, instead of do, we're going to be sing. Instead of do, then laugh, and then dance, and then shout, and then do again. Let's do it. Sing it. Laugh. Okay.
All right, let's have fun. All right, here we go. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. You've got to do. Spirit says 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 do. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. What do you got to do? You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You've got to sing the thing. We got to sing on. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. Laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You've got the Spirit says laugh. We gotta laugh, oh Lord. We got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. Here we go. Spirit says laugh. 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 You've got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta dance, oh Lord. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. Okay, here we go. Spirit says dance. 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 Now we can shout. Shout when the Spirit says shout. Now we're shouting. You've got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You've got to Spirit say shout. You've got to shout. Lord, you've got to shout when the Spirit says shout. There we go. Spirit says shout. 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 And that we do. Here we go. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. Come on. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. You've got to do it and do. You've got to do, oh Lord. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. Spirit says do. Come on. Spirit says do. That's right. Spirit says do. Spirit says do. Spirit says do. Spirit says do. Spirit says do.
And even more, a little song here for the kids, which of course, again, you can join in on. And by the way, I can't sing and clap at the same time, so I'm going to count on you to... All right. Andy?
All right, I had those words written differently in those key ones, you know, the shout, the sing, and do. They were in a different order on my little book over there, so. We did a good job, though, getting that through that. For a long time, I directed the Buff Choir here, and this is one of the songs we did back in the day. A few of you might remember this, and if you do, feel free to join along somewhere on the chorus or wherever you like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe it's not too late. Together we can change the world. Lay the puzzle pieces out, find out what it's all about. Together we can change the world. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Sail past where it's been charted. Roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. With our hands and with our hearts, we can dare to make a start. Together we can change the world. If we spoke with one voice, knowing that we had a choice, together we can change the world. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Sail past where it's been charted. Roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. Change your mind and change your life. Set aside the fear and strife. Together we can change the world. When we open up our eyes, then we start to realize. Together we can change the world. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Sail past where it's been charted. Roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. Can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for your help. Together we can change the world. Toe tablets, it's been charted. Roll your sleeves up, let's get started. Together we can change the world. Together we can change the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe it's not too late. Together we can change the world.
And we sing that to you, kids, because you have our blessing. We know that we lay a lot upon you to go out and continue to work that generations before us have done, but we promise to support you. And we're going to sing you out to your classrooms now, singing, "We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go." Together we hold one another in each other's love because we can change the world bit by bit by creating conditions for engagement and mutual support, creating space for both comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comfortable. To that end, I encourage you to gather downstairs for coffee and potluck today. Spend time with someone you don't know and talk about something real. Try this, seriously. Make the effort to talk about something that is both real and not discouraging. Might not be the first thing that rolls off your tongue. So allow yourself to pause. Accept from one another the incredibly minor discomfort of pause rather than anxious reaction. See if there may be room for conversation that is both real and not discouraging. Here's something real that doesn't have to be discouraging. Even though we've cut back on staffing considerably this year, we have still been spending too much on building stewards and administrative support for our potlucks. And so basically we're going to have to eliminate them unless we get volunteers to do all of the work. So, opportunity calls. Every movement for liberation has depended upon the unglamorous work behind the scenes, logistical and financial. Not just here and there, but resolute, unglamorous work. We have so much to offer to expand beloved community within and beyond these walls. Lucy, were you going to talk about tomorrow night? I don't know. I was going to, but you're standing there, so I'm wondering.
I have a small list from Black Lives Matter.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Come on up.
Hello, I'm Lucy Kesterson. I'm here from our Black Lives Matter Ministry Action Team. And tomorrow night, as Paul mentioned, is the 25th annual celebration of MLK Junior Day here at Buff. Well, I don't know if it's happened for 25 years here at Buff, but it's the 25th anniversary and it's happening tomorrow here. And so there'll be live music. And our keynote speaker will be Dr. Cislina Grosher-Ledbetter. And then there'll be a special presentation from Lance Jones, who's the interim director of Northwest Youth Services. Please come and take part. You're welcome to be there. The next thing on the list is we will be building on today's service next week, January 26th. We'll be discussing, like Rupert mentioned, Article 2, we'll be discussing Buff's own covenant to beloved community, which was resolved and approved in November of 2020. And we'll be talking about how we can put that promise into action. We will have the privilege of that service being led by Reverend Dr. Rose Eddington and Reverend Mel Hoover. So again, please come to that. And then in February, our religious education will be building on UUA's new anti-racism curriculum. And so please sign up for that. It is foundational, but you're welcome to come start at any session. And we want parents especially to know that we have arranged for childcare. So if you plan to be there, we need a little bit of notice so that we can make sure that childcare is there, but you are welcome as well. Thank you, and yeah, yay.
Thank you, Lucy, not just for sharing today, but for all the work that you put in behind the scenes to make this happen. So come tomorrow night at 7, come to potluck today immediately afterward. Remind yourself of how important and fun these gatherings are. Tomorrow night there's going to be an all-comers choir also, so come at 6, and everybody, regardless of voice, can learn the songs and be prepared to participate in the service that way. So, thank you.
You know, I was sitting there and I opened my little binder and nothing that I looked at made sense, and then I realized I had my binder upside down. And I have my own announcement to make, and that is Friday night I washed up somebody's dirty dishes, and I know I volunteer and do stuff, but I would appreciate it if everybody washed their dirty dishes. So, I am embarrassed to say I have tended to take national holidays for granted. Before I retired, they were a paid day off work. The 4th of July was fireworks and parades. Thanksgiving was food and family. Christmas, more food and family, along with the good and the bad of cards and presents. New Year's Day was a hangover, and other holidays were just days, nothing to get hung about, to borrow a line from John Lennon. And then came Dr. King's birthday. Initially for me, that day was just another freebie. Great! And it was a box checked for civil rights. And that is a problem. My thinking has evolved, as now I think the day is a call to continue the unfinished struggle for civil rights. And maybe that has made me also think more deeply about other national holidays that honor the great effort and sacrifice of others that has made my life, our lives, better. Dr. King never registered in my mind until that day 57 years ago when he was murdered for what he believed in. What I think we at Buff believe in today. Maybe because Dr. King's murder was sandwiched between John and Robert Kennedy's murders, the full impact of those tragedies on my conscience was blunted. Perhaps like all traumas, the shock is wearing off. The pain of losing Dr. King is slowly rising in me. During our service last week, we saw an image of a placard from the Memphis garbage strike of 1968. The strike was the reason Dr. King was in Memphis when he was assassinated. The placard read, "I am a man. I am a man." It communicated the basic right of humanity to be treated equitably as a human being. As I reflect on Dr. King, those 4 words sum up for me why we honor him. He made our basic human right of equity very clear. The right to work and fair labor, the right to housing and health care, the right to education. That is what we honor. That is what gave him, and gives his legacy, far more social power than that of politicians. Dr. King was a revolutionary who led a nonviolent campaign for civil rights that forced the Kennedy and Johnson administrations to take responsibility for human rights and to force the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965. Dr. King is inspirational. He was arrested for civil disobedience. He died challenging our nation and our politicians to be better. But I worry that we are now losing ground he gave his life for. I worry that instead of building upon those 2 Civil Rights Acts, we are eroding them. I worry that rather than move toward our union's founding words that all men are created equal, we are moving away from them. I worry that a national holiday has replaced the never-ending hard work of pushing back against oppression. For me, honoring Dr. King is a way of honoring all those who came before him, marched with him, and followed on after him in the push for human rights. Not just the known names such as Frederick Douglass or W.E.B. Du Bois, Medgar Evers, Rosa Parks, or John Lewis, Ella Baker, Ida B. Wells, or Fannie Lou Hamer, but also the regular people who did the little everyday things like ride-sharing during a bus strike, and those who also died for civil rights. 3 words come to mind as I think of Dr. King. They are love, courage, and hope. 3 words to carry us forward. By love, I mean agape, a caring for all humanity. It is embracing those we dislike or disagree with in order to find ways to peace. I think we can practice love without necessarily liking. Practice love without necessarily liking. That seems difficult today. What I find striking about it is that one-on-one with someone we are familiar with, have an affinity for, we can disagree without coming to blows. Courage is doing something that frightens us. Lots of things frighten us. Money, maybe most of all, and certainly pain. I think each of us needs to practice courage every day. The courage to disagree, the courage to share, the courage to embrace a stranger with a smile or a nod hello, especially embrace someone not like us, and the courage to embrace a position and stand up for it. Hope is our belief in each other, that we will come together, that we will always strive for goodness and positive change, that we will endure the valleys of disappointment, knowing they are followed by the heights of elation. My hope is in the next generation, but that can't happen without a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of support. Hope is saying, we can do this, or as we heard with President Obama, si se puede. The question I have about tomorrow is whether or not I can meet the challenge Dr. King gave to us. Can I stand on the side of justice?
Go ahead and put up the next slide, Jim. There we go. Let's be honest about ourselves. Unitarian Universalists are all too often unhinged by the most trivial discomforts. Music from another generation. God language. Improper grammar. At some level, I think we appreciate it when a Sunday service is unthreatening and forgettable. Let me confess, something in me resists the message there. When I'm out walking with Audie, I usually sing a song over and over, trying to memorize it. Singing this refrain, however, and Andy's going to sing it with us later, I stumble over and over on that line, sometimes I'm going to have to lose. What always comes out of my mouth intuitively, even though it doesn't fit the rhythm or the spirit, I've got nothing to lose. And I do that over and over. I can't quite say it. Where is this coming from? Some whiny, pretentious combination of poor me and aren't I bold? Wake up, Paul. Who are you kidding? You are privileged beyond imagination. You want to engage? Sometimes you are going to have to lose. Why do I imagine that the arc of the universe, while very long, the moral arc of the universe, it is said, long, but at least it's going to be smooth. There's no ups and downs. There's no reversals of fortune. No, sometimes I'm going to have to lose. I can't take blithe comfort thinking it's all worth it because there's going to be some ultimate wonderful result. But we don't need, really, some blithe comfort about what's waiting on the other side. Dr. King pushed forward without illusion, explicitly saying he would not live to see the promised land. So let's stumble along now with zest for the climb itself, as Andy will be leading us. This is just the refrain, but if you're Miley Cyrus fans, you know the whole thing. So.
I teach middle school choir, and sometimes we have karaoke days, and this one comes up a lot. I can almost see it, that dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but so I gotta keep on. Let me try that again. There we go. I gotta keep trying. I gotta keep my head held high. Here we go. There's always gonna be another mountain. Always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going, and I gotta be strong. I gotta just keep pushing on. Here we go, and there's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. It's a climb. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Somebody's gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. Whoa, it's a climb. Oh, it's about the journey. On the way you get there with your friend. Yeah. Not about the car to go at the end of the rainbow. Oh, it's all the way you're walking along the way. It's a climb.
What better segue to the upcoming change in administration than Dr. King's legacy of not giving up, of taking a stand? On March 31st, 1968, in the National Cathedral, Dr. King gave his Remaining Awake Through a Great Revolution speech. His sleep illusion was to Rip Van Winkle. Funny that, as I am sure some of us may not want to get out of bed tomorrow for the inauguration. As if to push us forward during that speech, Dr. King spoke this memorable line: "We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." What is a moral arc? Maybe the definition is in what Dr. King said next. Quoting Carlyle, "No lie can live forever." And William Cullen Bryant, "Truth, crushed to earth, will rise again." And reading a few words from James Russell Lowell's The Present Crisis. "Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own." Does the arc of the moral universe still bend to justice? Does it take people like you and me to bend it? What if I, sit back, tune out, turn off, and do a Rip Van Winkle? I am disheartened at where our country is headed. I look in the mirror and worry that through my own inaction, I will perhaps perpetrate a Gleichschaltung, the reordering of political, social, and cultural life in Germany to serve Nazi Party goals. It happened because a large swath of the population went along with it. Does it help to give voice to what I fear? Dismantling of democracy, curtailment of civil liberties, rollback of environmental protection, unfettered capitalism, abridgment of legal rights? It seems bleak, and for some, a real threat to their well-being. I have a lot of privilege that likely insulates me from the pain of what may come. But then again, as John Donne wrote, the bell tolls for thee. In this case, possibly me. I'm a naturalized citizen. I could lose that. I too could be deported. 92 years ago, in 1933, FDR was inaugurated for the first of his 4 terms. And I take heart in these words from his address. So, first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes the needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. In every dark hour of our national life, a leadership of frankness and vigor has met with that understanding and support of the people themselves, which is essential to victory. I am convinced that you will again give that support to leadership in these critical days. Frank, vigorous leadership. This brings me back to Dr. King. In order to bend that moral arc, do we need someone to lead us? If we need a leader, who will that be? Could it be a leader launched from a platform of faith like Dr. King? If it is a faith leader, and we are Unitarian Universalists, then aren't we each a leader in our own way? Could any one of us be an accidental leader, like Polish labor organizer Lech Walesa, or a poet like Václav Havel, who led Czechoslovakia to independence, or someone like Volodymyr Zelensky, who has become a symbol of loyalty and defiance in the Ukraine? He lives with a price on his head because he insists on doing what is right. He is an inspiration. If we look at home and around the world, who by their actions have inspired us, accidental or not? I think of Nelson Mandela in South Africa, Corazon Aquino in the Philippines, Helen and Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta leading California farm workers, and camera store owner Harvey Milk, the first openly gay man elected to public office in California, murdered for his stance on sexual orientation rights. And Mary Elizabeth Lease, whose criticisms of capitalism and government in the late 1800s still ring true today. I take hope and motivation from the people who step to the forefront. People not much different from you or me. And that's just it. I think if we want to bend the moral arc, it's up to us to take action, to engage and connect in our community, to get out and protest together, to support strikers together, to keep writing letters to our elected representatives together, to speak out against falsehoods together, to speak up for justice together, to be a witness when we see a bad deed together, to withhold financial support from bad businesses together, to keep writing get out the vote postcards together. In his much maligned Crisis of Confidence speech of July 15, 1979, President Jimmy Carter gave a description of the United States that is probably even more true today. He had spent 10 days speaking to Americans from every walk of life, seeking to learn what was wrong with the country. This comment, he repeated, seems to fit where we are today. We've got to stop crying and start sweating, stop talking and start walking, stop cursing and start praying. The strength we need will not come from the White House, but from every house in America. When I think of tomorrow, I like to think our glass is half full, not half empty. But that does not mean I don't have work to do if I don't want it to become empty. I need to stand on the side of love every day. I need to keep working for justice. Thank you.
So Dr. King's quote about the arc of the moral universe is a paraphrase of Unitarian preacher and abolitionist Theodore Parker in the 1850s, who said, "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but a little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by the experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure it bends toward justice." Bends toward justice, not that it arrives at justice. How does that strike you today? This metaphor, this projection. It struck me in different ways at different times over the last decades. Sometimes a sense of, yes, trust. Sometimes doubt. Or a hopeful sense of purpose in that, well, I can nudge it in the right direction. Or guilt. Maybe I should be nudging harder. How does it strike you today? There are many who confidently celebrate its truth. Many probably gritting their teeth, saying, yes, it's gotta be true. We gotta hold on. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. How long will it be? And what do we do in the meantime? Dr. King called upon the faithful with a holy discontent. He called upon the faithful to hold on to a holy discontent, even as we move on together. And this song that we're going to sing now is unfamiliar. I'm not going to say it's not easy. It's so easy. But it's number 1029, Love Knocks. It's also be up here. Andy, you're going to sing a verse for us first. So let's stand with us and bow to your spirit. Let it challenge you. Hear the words, say the words.
You know, I remember getting used to the songs in our hymnal, and sometimes we keep singing the same ones over and over. But gosh, this hymnal is so full of good stuff. Every once in a while, just take a look through and say, what's this song sound like? See if you can find it somewhere. Love knocks and waits for us to hear, to open and invite. Love longs to quiet every fear and seeks to set things right. Oh, that's nice. Let's try verse 2. Here we go. Love offers life in spite of foes who threaten and condemn, embracing every means that blows the second mile with them. Here's our third verse. Here we go. 1, 2. Love comes to heal the broken heart, to ease the troubled mind. Without a word, love bids us start to ask and seek and find. Here we go. Love knocks and enters at the sound of welcome from within. Love sings and dances all around and feels new life begin.
Thank you. Thank you in advance for your generosity today as the ushers come forward and receive your generous gifts. So Andy, I said, how about Eyes on the Prize? Never heard of it, he said. Of course you have. Keep your eyes on the prize. Don't be afraid. Deep in your heart, you must believe everything's gonna be all right someday. You know, from the 50s and 60s, the civil rights era. Huh. Oh, wait, you mean hold on? From the 1800s that keep your hand on the plow? Spiritual sounds like laborers in the field. Never heard of it, I said. But that's the nature of folk music in general, and African American and call and response religious music in particular, with words and rhythms improvised and traded and adapted as circumstances change. The civil rights era lyrics, don't be afraid, deep in your heart you must believe, everything is going to be all right someday. It's strikingly similar to the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. The Depression era, the 1800s, sharecropper and Depression era laborers singing, hold on, hold on. It's less optimistic. It's not pessimistic, but it's different. The mood of the country changes, circumstances change, tactics change or grow obsolete, and so we adapt. It's probably good for us to draw on the wisdom of both ends of the experience, and so we're going to sing now a bit of a combination, but, well, you'll see.
So I mentioned earlier that I teach choir, and that's the joy of my life, inspiring the musicians of the future. And so what we talk about in choir a lot is rhythm. And so we're going to learn a little bit about that today. So I'm going to ask you I need a little bit of help on this song. And so let's see. The stomp clap, okay? It looks like this. Okay? And immediately you think in your mind, buddy as a coal man, huh? Okay? All right? Well, that whole thing started way before that. Okay? So this particular song, Hold On, which is the original version, which then became the Keep Your Eyes on the Prize version, is deeply rooted in the work that had to be done by African Americans at that time, and staying alive. And I was in the Peace Corps in West Africa for 2 years, and I got to understand how the rhythm that needs to happen while people are working is a necessity. In fact, it is in every work site. It's a hired role where the workers have to work and the drummers have to drum. And if the drummers aren't there, if they're not allowed to have their drummers like they weren't allowed to, they made the rhythm happen that way. And that's how you keep going. You don't fall behind and you don't speed up. You stay in the beat. Yeah, take it easy. Don't speed up. If you speed up, you burn out. If you slow down, you fall behind. The energy has to stay steady. Keep it steady. That's starting to feel right. Okay, that's good. I'm getting there, hold on. All right, there it is. Okay. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Noah, Noah, let me come in. The doors all fastened and the windows pinned. Keep your hands hand on that plow. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Noah said you done lost your track. You can't plow straight and keep looking back. Keep your hand on that plow. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your hand on that plow. Hold on, hold on. Know the thing we did was right. Was the day we began to fight. Keep your eyes on that prize. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. On that pride. Yeah. Hold on, hold on. Here we go. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on that prize. Hold on. Oh, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Spirit in which we rise together and sing. Number 1015, I Know I Can. (1015) in the Teal Hymnal. Okay, we cannot know. We don't need to know. It's self-indulgent to think we need to know whether our efforts will play a part in the trajectory of liberation for all. We just go. We can choose where to place our attention, to invest most, if not all, of our attention on that which is real but not discouraging. If we're not in the habit of doing this, well, that could be a good first step. So let's keep our eyes on the prize, whether we believe or not that everything's going to be all right. Hold on. Keep your hands to the plow and join hands with one another now as we circle round for freedom.